Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. I was listening to Parliament proceedings when the government side, I'm talking about the government side because there are members of Parliament who think they represent the executive, whereas the constitution, how it's been structured, is that there is the executive and there is the legislature, and then we have the judiciary. The legislature does checks and balances on the executive. So we don't have opposition MPs or executive MPs. But according to some members of Parliament who are voted in courtesy of UDA, they have been calling themselves the government MPs. So these government MPs, and one of them is John KIARIE, decided to weigh in on this issue of BBC.
Mr. Speaker, the British Army Training Unit is known to have killed our people. They are known to have raped our women. They are known to have maimed our people. Mr. Speaker, they are also known for serious environmental degradation. And we understand, Mr. Speaker, even in media, that the BBC is funded by taxpayers' money in Britain, meaning that BBC is funded to push the foreign agenda of the British people internationally, Mr. Speaker.
And if you look at these members of Parliament, they are all calling for the ban of BBC Africa. I mean, this is like exacting revenge on the documentary that was published, ladies and gentlemen. So in this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to explore this growing debate about the ban on BBC Africa. And by the way, I want to just go below in the comment section and tell us whether you think BBC should be banned here in Kenya. BBC Africa, should it be banned? Do you support that call? Is there a need for that? And of course, we know that it's based on the documentary that was published. Do you support the call by the executive MPs that BBC Africa should be banned here in Kenya? So I'd like to take you through some reaction that has come from the United Nations Human Rights Commission. They have talked about something here, and there's something they're planning, and it's all about reviewing Kenya's human rights record, because they appear to have been, affected by these growing accusations from the media and from what BBC has published. Now, before we get further on this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, kindly like this video, subscribe to this channel, and to our existing subscribers, I want to continue thanking you so much, because without you, this channel wouldn't have grown. So, BBC has ignited some fierce confrontation between Kenya and the UNHRC. Now, UNHRC is planning to review Kenya's human rights record starting May 1st, that is starting tomorrow, the 2025, and it's going to give us scorecard. And this news was broke out by a faction led by Antonio Guterres, Human Rights Commission, the UN Human Rights Commission. Now, what you need to also know is that this has come after Kenya Human Rights Commission had sent a letter to the UN General highlighting areas of concern. And it's all about back then when there was massive abductions, and back then when there was a lot of atrocities committed by our law enforcement. That time, ladies and gentlemen, the Kenya Human Rights Commission wrote to the UN to seek the attention of Antonio Guterres. And the reaction or the response here is that UNHRC, which is part of UN, is going to start the process of reviewing, Kenya's human rights record, and probably give us scorecard. Now let's escalate this analysis a bit. I was telling you about the executive members of Parliament and their call for a ban. Now, there's a video I want to share from that reaction from the Parliament. But first of all, Britain Army had some, mistakes here in Kenya. You remember the issue of rape, the issue of maiming, the atrocities which were conducted by the British Army, who used to conduct their drills in Kenya. whereby they killed, raped, maimed Kenyans. So that is what these executive members of parliament are hanging on to, those atrocities, ladies and gentlemen. So do you believe that that forms the basis of banning BBC Africa in Kenya? Do you think that is enough to ban BBC Africa? First of all, before I escalate this analysis, I want you to pay attention to this statement from the parliament. Just watch this video.
Mr. Speaker, this matter that has been brought to the floor by Honorable Bashir is a very critical national matter that we need to prosecute with sobriety as Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, there is no member who would rise on the floor of this House to support atrocities by any uniformed officer against our citizens. And in fact, we are not here to say whether the Kenya Army or the Kenya Defense Forces have done right or done wrong, because it is not in our place to judge them. However, Mr. Speaker, it is not lost to my mind that in the last parliament, Mr. Speaker, this House declined to assent to the renewal of the terms of service and the terms of training of the British Army Training Unit in Kenya, the Batuk. Mr. Speaker, when we refused to sign up and regularize Batuk's presence in Kenya, we took a hitting as a House, Mr. Speaker. But in this 13th Parliament, the Parliament has been able to pass that British Army Training Unit in Kenya can practice and train on our mother soil, Mr. Speaker. However, that was not without a rider. This House put a rider, and the rider was serious, Mr. Speaker. The rider was saying that there is no way that a British officer can end up committing a crime in Kenya and not tried in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the British Army Training Unit is known to have killed our people. They are known to have raped our women. They are known to have maimed our people. Mr. Speaker, they are also known for serious environmental degradation. And we understand, Mr. Speaker, even in media, that the BBC is funded by taxpayers' money in Britain, meaning that BBC is funded to push the foreign agenda of the British people internationally, Mr. Speaker. And so we must know, is BBC speaking as a mouthpiece of the government and the people of Britain, or what is it that the BBC is doing? Could it be an attempt to untwist this country so that they can rescind on the rider that we put on their training of the Batuk units in Kenya, Mr. Speaker?
Now, based on that video, you have listened to what John KIARIE said, that BBC is funded by taxpayers' money in Britain. He has also talked about BBC pushing false narratives and trying to, serve the interests of some people. Then who are these people that BBC is trying to serve their interests? Who are they, ladies and gentlemen? You can just guess below in the comment section and tell us whom you think BBC could be, reacting on behalf. Is it on behalf of Kenyans? Is it on behalf of the Wamunyoro team? Is it on behalf of the Maraga Omtata team? Whose behalf, ladies and gentlemen? Now, we've also heard what Peter Kaluma said. Peter Kaluma also supported the ban on BBC Africa here in Kenya. And I think Kaluma sees the documentary as biased one, because BBC did not amplify the atrocities that were committed by the British Army here in Kenya back then. So why now? That is a very, very important question, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Kaluma is asking, why are they focused on Kenya, but they are not airing out what happened to Kenyans by the British Army? That's a very important question, by the way. I don't say I'm supporting the ban on BBC Africa. I don't, because We need information, and information must come from the media. But do you think BBC is being biased? That they ought to have even at least showcased what British Army did to Kenyans ionekane to the world. Now, all these are because of what the government feels that BBC inajaribu kuipiga vita na kusupport ile opposition ambayo iko. Wanataka kwamba serikali ianguke, ile opposition iko ndio ichukue. I think that is the mindset of this the government right now. That what BBC is trying to achieve is to bring down the government. Earlier on in our previous analysis, I reacted on what Maraga said, and Maraga's take was all about, again, the contents of that BBC documentary. You know? So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to rest my case there, but just go below in the comment section and tell us what you think about this move by the government MPs to call for a ban to BBC Africa. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.